In person with
no masks.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful thing. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Philip.
And together we make up the duo ARKAI. And as you can probably tell, we're not your traditional violin-cello duo. In fact, we love music of all kinds, and I think it's a mission of ours to kind of channel the beautiful diversity of the world into our music, to write tunes that bring people joy. Kind of like that last tune called Womp and Stop, fittingly. You probably can tell what the stop part is.
Yeah, and the whomping is just the womp and beat.
The womp and beat, the womp and beat. And so the next tune we're going to present for you is actually the first tune that we ever wrote about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, right after we met.
Right after we met, we're both graduates of Juilliard, and we met at a conference outside of Juilliard, and we met in the jams for this first time. And we were kind of DJs at this party, and we improvised for over an hour, and that sparked us. And so after that meeting, we had an opportunity to write a tune for a conference hosted by Barack Obama's sister here in New York City, which brought together young peace advocates from around the country. At that time, the nation was kind of reeling from the gun violence tragedies in Newtown and in all these different places. And so we wrote this tune, Aurora, thinking about what a mother of one of these children might be going through at the time, and the journey from just deep pain to hopeful reckoning to triumph. And I think it just bears a short note about our creative process, about how this thesis came about. Jonathan and I, the way we compose most of our music is actually through improvisation.
We'll just take out our phones, put on the voice memo, and then just start improvising for 5 minutes, for 30 minutes. Sometimes we have no idea, usually we have no idea where we're going to start or where we'll end up. But then sometimes we listen back and we're like, yeah, there was something good in there. And so Wampenstomp, the first tune, that was actually almost like 90% from one straight improv, and Aurora also came out of maybe a few more sessions of improv stitched together. But that's how we create most of our music. Now, in addition to our original compositions, of course, we like to rely on some music that's already been written. We like to pull from many genres, many influences, but then find pieces that really speak to us, and then we aren't content just to do, the basic version. We have to spice it up a little bit and make it our own, but it's a really fun process of arrangement. And so the next 2 tunes you're going to hear are both arrangements by ARKAI. The first is hopefully a tune that everyone should recognize. If you don't recognize it, you can ask your neighbor, and hopefully they, culture, you can say things. The second tune that we are then going straight into, though, is actually written by a friend of ours, this incredible Scottish fiddler named Hanukkah Castle. So we're going to be playing a tune that we learned from her and her husband, Mike Block, a tune that she wrote called Dot the Dragon's Eyes. Hope you enjoy these 2 arrangements by ARKAI.
And what came to be was an initiative of ours called Support NYC, where we decided to provide fundraising concerts for small businesses and nonprofits, some of the two hardest hit sectors during this time. And through that process, we've performed over a dozen fundraising concerts, raising over $20,000 for many different places. And so tonight, we're here to celebrate education through music and the incredible work that they do, the essential work that they do in schools. And I don't think it's news to anybody here that we have a deeply, flawed education system in this country, one that is just not equal. And so it's up to organizations like Education Through Music to provide services, provide arts to these kids. When under-resourced schools respond, they typically cut the arts first. And so it's up to organizations like Education Through Music to pick up the slack. And the arts are so, programs like this have been so instrumental for our upbringing. They've helped us kind of hone our creative voice. And the same holds true for thousands upon thousands of kids here in New York City. And so we encourage you all to please be generous tonight, to follow that text code and to give and to celebrate your 30 years. I think Adam was telling me, was it 18,000 kids a week? Is that right?
Yeah, so Education Through Music partners with 53 schools in New York City. Tomorrow is the last day of school for our 18,000 students, so wishing them a happy graduation as they go on to the next journey. But here in New York City, in the shadows of Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall, 53% of New York City public schools do not have a music teacher on faculty. So that's what we do at Education Through Music, is hire, train, replace music teachers full-time and create sustainable music education programs for every child here in New York City.
It's amazing, it's amazing. And we've seen some of these programs firsthand and the impact that it makes. And so 100% of all proceeds raised through this event will go back to Education Through Music. So rest assured, that is where your money is going. And so please be generous. So what's next, Philip?
Well, over this past year, as we've been doing this work with incredible organizations all across the country, literally, I think one of the things that we have been struck by the most, or an emotion that we feel most prominently, is just one of gratitude. Gratitude for these organizations, organizations and small businesses that we've been working with, who have had the tenacity, the resilience to keep going, especially for education programs, where the schools themselves were in complete disarray, and not to mention the additional layer of trying to program with them and coordinate with them. And so for us to meet incredible people, administrators, teaching artists, students, to meet all these people and to kind of come alongside them, even for a brief moment, to see what they've done. It's incredibly inspiring, and like I was saying, I think fills us with a lot of gratitude. So the next piece that we're going to play, I think, is one that speaks to that emotion. We're going to be playing our arrangement of the traditional American folk tune Shenandoah, which for us, whenever we play it, brings us to that same place. there were some things going on, and we had some moves in our lives. So the pandemic hits, and Jonathan and I had to split up, go our separate ways for quarantine. And so, of course, we were unable to play, to improvise in real time, to create like we had been used to. And I'm sure also many of you can also relate to that Zoom, wonderful as it is, just doesn't cut it for true real-time collaboration. We tried playing through it, it just really doesn't work. So, we had a couple projects, things that we applied ourselves to during our quarantine apart. And one of them was electric instruments.
A lot of time, and it was kind of, you can probably hear us trying to rock out on our acoustic instruments, but just wait until you hear it on these guys. And they just look cooler too. And we're just scratching the surface for what is possible through this electronic role. And the first piece that we're going to play is a tune called Grandmother's Dream, written by the Swedish jazz guitarist Eric Saade.
See if this will work. Pretty sick, right? Pretty cool. I can say so myself.
Sounds cool and so we're nearing the end, and we have one more tune for you. When Philip and I went our separate ways, over a year ago, we didn't have the luxury of composing in the same room together, and Zoom wasn't cutting it. So we resorted to setting these audio letters back and forth, these audio recordings of compositional fragments, these ideas, that we used to build this next piece, aptly called Letters from COVID. And in the end, what we actually ended up doing was using these original audio recordings in the second half of this work. So you're going to hear this track that we're going to be playing over. Those are those original audio recordings that we were sending back and forth. And through this tune, we wanted to tell the story of what we all collectively have been going through, a period of immense hardship, yet with beautiful and hopeful moments within as well.
complimentary stripes, but neither of us have a gift coming up with good names. So if that's your stripe, please share it. But we can make the scene for you.
So imagine yourself kind of a day like this. Perfect outside, but on the beach, with your favorite company and your favorite beverage in hand. Enjoy life. I think that's all we need
to say. Enjoy. Thank you so much. It was such an honor and a pleasure to share this evening with you, and especially for such incredible work for education through music. So
thank you, Adam. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, kids.
yes, for making this all happen, and we look forward to speaking with you all after the show.